A murder in Detroit is tried in court without a body as evidence. Decades later, police finally identified the victim, who was dumped in a wooden lot in Ida, Michigan. After years without answers, the family finally has closure. Last week, we told you about the cutting-edge technology that helped police. Now we're hearing from the detective who was on a mission to identify the remains. I-Team reporter Christina Williams has this week's case files.
The year was 1986. In June, a murder occurs in the city of Detroit. Months later, a discovery by a bus driver near a wooded lot in Ida, Michigan, more than 50 miles away from Detroit. Skeletal remains off of Lewis Avenue. An autopsy is performed, and it's determined the body is that of a white man between the ages of 35 and 45. He was beaten to death in the head. For decades, his identity was a mystery. Monroe County's John Doe. Meanwhile, in Detroit, police moved forward with charges against a man for the crime in 1989. He claimed self-defense and during a trial was acquitted. Investigators didn't have the body. Fast forward to just a few years ago, and Monroe County Sheriff's detectives started looking at the John Doe case again. The state crime lab was able to pull a DNA profile from a bone and found a possible link to a family member.
I met with the sister, and she told me that her brother was a victim of a homicide in Detroit in June of 1986, and his remains were never found.
Eventually, they made a connection to the Detroit homicide, but still don't have 100% certainty.
I worked different avenues in trying to get a better DNA sample. Reaching out to Detroit, there's a lot of blood at the crime scene to see if they had any evidence left that we could test to compare. Didn't have any in there. Tried to work with hospitals and dental offices to get dental records or a possible DNA evidence to the mother at hospitals, and to no avail.
Detective Jeff Hooper worked with the National Missing and Unidentified Person System and Othram, a lab in Texas that has cutting-edge DNA technology. After decades without answers, detectives recently identified the man as Sean Bronner. He was a landlord in the Detroit area and was beaten in Detroit in 1986 and presumably dropped in Ida after the crime.
It's nice to be able to, give that closure to the family. They thought that this day would never come. And so the family, she's got an extended family, and they're very happy.
Detective Hooper says this is just the start. And after a successful ID nearly 40 years later, he's hopeful other Jane and John Does left behind in Monroe County will finally get justice.
In Monroe County, we've seen quite a few of them over the years between Toledo and Detroit. We still have a handful of unidentifieds that are most likely, body dumps from Toledo and Detroit. And that's the thing about this case. It brings to light all those other cases.
If you have an unsolved case that needs attention, you can email the I-Team. It's casefiles@13abc.com. We would love to hear from you. Reporting for the I-Team, Christina Williams, 13 Action News.